My husband secretly sold my car to pay off his brother's gambling debt. So I sold his entire gaming room, legally, while he was at work. Before I get into the story, if you enjoy long Reddit-style relationship and revenge stories, please hit the like button and subscribe. It really helps small channels like ours reach the first 1,000 subscribers and tells the algorithm you want more stories like this. Alright, here's what happened. I'm 30F, my husband Mark is 32M. We've been together for 6 years, married for 3. We're not rich, but we're comfortable. I work nights as a nurse. He works in IT. I am not a car person in the fancy sense, but my car was my baby. It was a used Toyota, nothing luxury, but I bought it myself after years of crappy buses, begging coworkers for rides and walking home in the freezing cold after late shifts. I made every payment. The title was in my name, the insurance was in my name. I kept it clean, did all the maintenance, and it represented something really simple: independence and safety. I could get home from a night shift without worrying who was out on the street at 3 a.m. Mark, on the other hand, is a gamer. His pride and joy is his gaming room. If you've ever lived with a hardcore gamer, you can probably picture it. A high-end PC he built himself. 3 monitors including some ridiculous ultra-wide curved one, a wall of consoles and collector's editions, shelves full of figurines and limited-run statues, a racing chair, LED strips on every surface. If something in that room didn't glow, he usually ordered another RGB strip to fix that. We had a pretty fair balance. My car was my baby, his gaming room was his. We both respected that the other person had a thing they loved. But Mark has one weak spot: his younger brother Josh, 28. Josh is a walking red flag. Every time you speak to him, he's in the middle of some new big opportunity. Crypto, sports betting, day trading, some startup that is definitely going to blow up this year. And every time, somehow, he ends up broke and needs help just for this month. To Josh, Mark isn't a brother, he's a walking ATM. And to Mark, Josh is this eternally misunderstood kid he has to save. I've always been the villain in their story, the one who doesn't understand that family comes first. About 6 months ago, Josh accidentally got into serious trouble. That's how Mark phrased it. At first it sounded like the usual drama. Josh owed some people a chunk of money. There were vague hints about dangerous guys and things getting ugly if he didn't pay up. I told Mark straight up, very calmly, "Look, we can help him one time with a small amount if it's really that bad, but I am not going to finance his bad decisions. I work myself half to death for our bills. I'm not burning our future for his gambling." We ended up giving Josh $200 that month. I didn't want to, but I let it go as a one-time thing so I wouldn't have to hear about what a heartless witch I am who let family suffer. 2 months passed. No talk of paying us back. Just news stories about how stressed he was, how unfair life is, how he just needed one more chance. Then came the Tuesday that changed everything. I just finished a brutal night shift and drove back to our apartment complex. I pulled into our lot on autopilot, the way you do when you're exhausted and running on caffeine. I parked where I always park, or at least I tried to. My parking space was empty, completely empty. I sat there for a second, blinking, thinking maybe I was on the wrong row. I drove slowly around the lot. Nothing. No car. My brain went straight to theft. My heart was pounding by the time I grabbed my phone and called Mark. "Hey, where's my car? Did you take it this morning?" I asked. There was a pause on the line. Not a normal I'm thinking pause, a guilty one. The kind where you can hear someone's brain scrambling for a story. "Okay, don't freak out, all right? Everything's under control," he said. Whenever someone opens with "don't freak out," you already know you're about to freak out. "Mark, where is my car?" I sold it," he said. "But it's temporary. We'll get you another car, an even better one, I promise." My stomach dropped. It felt like I fell straight through the floor. "You did what?" I almost shouted into the phone in the middle of the parking lot. He started talking fast. "Josh is in serious trouble, okay? Like real scary trouble. He needed to pay off a debt now, and there was no time to figure something else out. I couldn't just sit there while my brother got hurt. You hardly even use the car, you work nights and your coworkers can give you rides. I cut him off. Mark, I work nights because I have a car. I literally use it to get to my job. You sold my car, the one I bought, the one that is in my name. You can't just decide to do that. He tried the "we're married" angle. We're married, everything's shared. It's not like I sold a stranger's car. We're a team, and sometimes the team has to sacrifice for family. Once Josh is back on his feet, we'll buy you something better. This is just a bump in the road. I asked the only thing I could think to ask in that moment. How much did you get for it? He mumbled a number. It was less than I'd originally paid, but still thousands of dollars. And you gave all of it to Josh? Well, yeah, but he's going to pay us back. He already has a new job lined up. I hung up on him. I was shaking, not just from the loss of the car, but from the betrayal. He hadn't even discussed it with me. He didn't warn me, didn't ask me, didn't say, "Hey, this is what I'm thinking of doing." He just quietly decided he had the right to sell my property for his brother. I called the police. I explained that my husband had sold my car without my consent and that the title was in my name only. They were sympathetic but said what I already half expected. It was a gray area. If he forged your signature, that's criminal, the officer said. If you willingly gave him access to the documents and he went to the dealership, it might become a civil matter. You'll probably want to talk to a lawyer. So I went home in a taxi, feeling empty and strangely numb. Mark was waiting for me, sitting on the couch like a little kid caught with his hand in the cookie jar. I know you're mad, he started, but you need to understand. Show me the paperwork, I said. The sales contract, all of it. He hesitated but pulled out a folder from his bag. I flipped through the pages and stopped cold. At the bottom was my signature. Except, it wasn't my signature. It was an attempt at my handwriting, but not even a very good one. You forged my signature, I said quietly. He tried to laugh it off. Come on, forged is such an ugly word. We're married. It's not like I was stealing from a stranger. I just signed for you. It saved time. I took pictures of every page with my phone. In that moment, something inside me snapped into a kind of crystal clear focus. If he was willing to fake my signature to get what he wanted, I could not trust him with anything. I sent the photos to my friend who's a lawyer. She called me back almost immediately. Yeah, that's forgery and fraud, she said. Legally, that's theft of your vehicle. You can absolutely press charges and it would not go well for him. You also have grounds for a civil case. I wasn't ready to go straight to the police with a criminal complaint yet, but the knowledge sat in my brain like a loaded gun. That evening, we were invited to dinner at his parents' house. I didn't want to go, but Mark begged me. Please come. Josh wants to thank you in person, he said. He wanted to thank me for my own car. I went because I wanted to look these people in the eye and hear what they'd say. Josh was grinning like he'd just won the lottery. You have no idea how much you saved me, he said. Seriously, sis, I swear I'm gonna get back on my feet and buy you a car way better than that old thing. I asked calmly, why didn't you sell your stuff? Your bike, your consoles, all the gear you have. Your apartment is full of expensive junk. He laughed. That wouldn't cover it. And besides, I need something that brings me joy, you know. Life's hard enough. His mother jumped in with this martyr tone. You have to understand, dear, family means sacrifice. Mark is a good brother. You should be proud of what he did for Josh. On the drive home, Mark tried to put his arm around me. I pulled away. Do you realize at all what you did? I asked. He sighed like I was being unreasonable. I know you're upset, but it's not forever. We'll get you another car. Things will settle down. Once Josh gets straightened out, we'll be fine. In the long run, you'll see I did the right thing. I said, we'll see, and something inside me quietly decided, this is not going to be our shared story anymore. This is going to be his story. For the next 2 weeks, I moved like a robot. I picked up extra shifts, took taxis, begged for rides, walked when I had to. I barely spoke to Mark except about practical stuff. Every time he tried to hug me or joke around like nothing had happened, something in me recoiled. Once I asked him, "Let me see the messages between you and Josh and the actual documents about this so-called debt. If you're asking me to lose my car for this, I at least want to know it's real." He got offended and angry. "You think we're lying to you? That's insulting. You don't trust me at all." Which told me exactly what I needed to know. They were absolutely lying, or at least hiding things. One night as I stood outside our house after a shift, I looked up at the window of his gaming room. The rainbow glow of his LEDs seeped through the curtains like some neon aura. He sold my car, the thing I loved most in terms of material possessions. I asked myself a simple question. What does he love most? I looked at that glowing window and already knew the answer. I made an appointment with a proper lawyer. During the consultation, she confirmed what my friend had said. Yes, I had grounds for criminal charges and a civil suit. Yes, selling my car without consent and forging my signature absolutely counted as financial abuse. Then I asked her something else. "All that gaming equipment," I said. "The PC, the monitors, the consoles, the collectibles. They were all bought after we got married and almost all with money from our joint account. What does that mean legally?" She said, "That means it's marital property, which means it's legally half yours. If you're seeking compensation for your loss, you can sell jointly owned items and document that as part of the marital estate." Half mine. That phrase lit up a very cold, very calm part of my brain. I went home and pulled bank statements. Sure enough, every big purchase for his gaming room was paid with our joint card. I had dates, amounts, and even online receipts in his email. Over the next few days, I called around to local electronic stores and a consignment shop that specializes in gaming and tech gear. I asked if they did house calls for large collections. "Sure," one of them said. "If there's enough stuff, we can send a team to evaluate and make an offer on the spot." We set up a day when Mark would definitely be at the office and not working from home. That morning he kissed me on the cheek on his way out, completely unaware that he was saying goodbye to half his personality. After he left, I made some coffee, took a deep breath, and waited. About an hour later, two guys from the store showed up with clipboards and padded boxes. "This the gaming room?" one of them asked as I led them down the hall. "Yes," I said. "Everything in here is for sale. PC, monitors, consoles, VR set, figures, the gaming chair, the fancy keyboard and mouse, everything. If it's technology or gamer stuff, it goes." They looked at each other but shrugged. Not their circus, not their monkey. It took them almost 3 hours to go through it all, testing what needed to be tested, writing down serial numbers, checking market prices for the rarer collector's items. The final number they offered was impressive. A little less than what my car had sold for, but still a serious amount of money. I signed the contract. The funds were wired directly into a separate account in my name that I'd opened before we got married. My lawyer had told me exactly how to structure it as compensation for marital loss. When they were done, the gaming room looked like an abandoned office. Bare walls where neon lights used to glow, dusty rectangles on the desk where monitors had stood, empty shelves where figurines once posed in dramatic battle positions. I left exactly one item in the middle of the room, his old cracked controller that he kept for nostalgia. I don't know why, but it felt symbolic. And then I waited. Mark came home around 6, chatting about some bug at work. He didn't notice anything at first. He dropped his bag, walked into the kitchen, and tried to hug me from behind. "How was your day?" he asked. "Productive," I said. He wandered off toward the hallway. A second later, I heard him stop, then a strangled noise. "What the hell is this?" I walked to the doorway of the now empty room. Mark stood in the center, turning in circles, looking like someone had swapped his house while he was gone. "Where's my computer? Where is everything?" he yelled. "I sold it," I said evenly. He stared at me like I'd confessed to murder. "You what? You can't do that, that's my stuff." "Not exactly," I replied. "Everything in this room was bought with our joint money after we got married. That makes it marital property, which means it's half mine. I sold my half to compensate for the car you stole and sold behind my back." He started pacing. "You don't understand. This is different. That car was just a car. This is my passion, my stress relief, my space." "For me, that just a car was my safety," I said. "My ability to get home alive from a night shift. My independence. You didn't ask me, you didn't give me a choice. You made a unilateral decision and expected me to be grateful. I did the same thing, except I did it legally." He began shouting about betrayal, about how I'd humiliated him, about how I'd acted out of spite instead of talking like an adult. I pulled out the folder with the copies of the car paperwork. "Here's the sales contract for my car with the signature you forged," I said. "Here's the bank statement showing the price you sold it for. Here's the evaluation and sale paperwork for your gaming gear and the transfer confirmation to my account. I've talked to a lawyer. Every single step I took is legal and documented. If you try any more family emergencies using my property, these copies go straight to the police." "Are you trying to have me arrested?" he asked, suddenly much quieter, much paler. "Not yet," I said, "but if you push me, I won't hesitate." That night, he tried a different tactic. "You could have just talked to me," he said, eyes red. "We could have worked something out. You didn't have to destroy my stuff." I looked at him for a long moment. "You still don't get it. You did destroy something of mine. You destroyed my trust, and you physically took away something I worked for years to afford. You committed fraud. You put me in danger every time I go to work in the middle of the night. And right now, your biggest concern is that your toys are gone." He tried again to defend Josh. "He's my brother. He was scared, he needed help. You would do the same for your family." "If my family had a gambling problem and refused to change," I said, "I'd let them face consequences. I would not commit a crime for them. Your brother is almost 30. He can sell his own crap or work extra shifts or figure it out the hard way. I am done being your family ATM." Silence hung between us. "I want separate finances," I added calmly, "separate accounts, and I want you to repay me the cost of the car. You can do it voluntarily or I can take you to court. Your choice." "So you're threatening me with divorce?" he asked. "I'm telling you that if you don't take responsibility, I don't see a future where I can trust you," I replied. "If that leads to divorce, then yes, that's on the table." Predictably, his family got involved. His mother called me a few days later, furious. "How could you do that to my son? You sold his things, that's cruel," she said. "He sold my car," I answered. "He forged my signature and gave the money to someone with a gambling problem. I had every right to call the police. I chose not to for now. Selling jointly owned gaming equipment to cover my loss is mild compared to what I could have done." She actually said, "You can always buy another car, but his hobby is part of his soul." "Then his soul can buy him a new PC," I replied and ended the call. Josh texted me too. "You ruined everything my brother loves. Hope you're happy." I texted back, "For the first time in this whole mess, yeah, I kind of am." At one point, Mark tried to flip the script and threaten to divorce himself. I answered very calmly, "Okay, if that's what you want, I'll file. But I'm also filing criminal charges for forgery and theft, and a civil suit for the value of the car and damages. My lawyer is ready." He froze. Suddenly, divorce didn't look like such a strong bargaining chip for him. We did start seeing a couples therapist, actually at his request. I went in skeptical, but the therapist surprised me by being very direct. "Mark," she said at our second session, "what you did is financial abuse. Selling your partner's major asset without consent and forging their signature is not a family sacrifice. It's a violation of trust and the law. You prioritized your brother's repeated bad choices over your wife's safety. He looked genuinely stunned, as if it hadn't occurred to him that he was the bad guy in this story. Over the next few months, we made some changes. We opened separate bank accounts. We drew up a written agreement that no vehicle, property, or major purchase could be sold or financed without both signatures. Mark started paying me back for the car in installments, part out of his paycheck, part out of a side job he picked up. He does not have a fancy gaming room anymore. He has a cheap second-hand console, an old monitor, and a basic chair in the corner of the living room. Honestly, it's not a bad thing. With fewer distractions, he's had to actually sit with his thoughts and his choices instead of hiding in a neon cave. His relationship with Josh cooled off too. When Josh came back around asking for money again, Mark said, "I can't help you anymore. Figure it out." The world did not end. As for me, I eventually bought another car. It took extra shifts, some saving and a small loan, but I did it. It's registered only in my name, and the documents are locked up somewhere Mark doesn't have access to. The old gaming room is my office now. I painted the walls a calm color, put up bookshelves, added a desk and a comfy chair. There are plants on the windowsill instead of LED strips. On one wall, I hung a framed photo of my old car, taken on the day I bought it. Underneath, I stuck a small metal plate that says, "Never again." Sometimes Mark stands in the doorway and looks around, a little sad, but he doesn't say much. He knows that if he ever again chooses his brother's chaos over our marriage, he won't just lose his toys, he'll lose me and possibly his clean record. I don't feel guilty about what I did. My revenge wasn't impulsive. It was measured, documented, and legal. He took away the thing that represented my independence and safety without a second thought. I took away the thing he valued most to remind him. My boundaries are real, and there are consequences when you walk all over them. Thanks for listening to my story. If you enjoyed it, please like the video, tell me in the comments whose side you're on, and subscribe to the channel. We're working hard to reach our first 1,000 subscribers and bring you more full Reddit-style stories every day.